let's do a spoiler-free review for Final Destination. If you are any stranger to this franchise, consider yourself lucky because this franchise has a long legacy of damaged, PTSD-filled individuals. Many of us are still scarred with driving behind vehicles with loads on them. I don't know about you guys, but I have had issues with trusting other things in nature, like, I don't know, water puddles. Definitely don't mess with electricity and fire, right? Just any natural event. If the wind starts chiming a little too much and them wind chimes start moving, I'm like, no, let me go home. Let me just go home. I say a little quick prayer and I go home. So anyway, we have a brand new installment to the franchise here. And in this installment, it does change and take things up a level, right? So let me start off with a quick intro. Final Destination Bloodlines. In this movie, they are plagued by a recurring violent nightmare. Plagued by a recurring violent nightmare. A college student returns home to find the one person who can break the cycle and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them. All right. So, first and foremost, you guys are coming. We know why we're here, right? Let's not pretend. Let's not act like this is something new. We are here for the deaths, right? That's why we are here. That's the only reason we are here for the most part. The death scenes of this movie are definitely the star of the show, right? And they do not disappoint. They were bloody, they were brutal, and they were straight up just grotesque. Shout out to the makeup departments and the props and stuff, because a lot of times they seem very believable and they were also very hard to watch, right? And some of the kills, some of the deaths, I think were so over the top creatively that you'll kind of catch yourself maybe laughing at times, just because you're like, yo, this is too wild. It's too wild. It's too much going on. But what I liked about this was how it elevated the writing, right? So one of the positive things here is the writing was very self-aware. The movie knows exactly what franchise it belongs to, and it plays on that in different ways, right? Like, just so, for example, when you think you know how a certain setup is going to happen, nah, they pivot that, right? Or you think, okay, we know that this situation is about to happen with this character, it's all lining up. Nah, psych. Or maybe you're right? Maybe you are right. It does not matter. They will mess with you. That tension, the misdirects, the fake outs, all of them hit for me. I thought they did a good job with that. And what I really liked is how they did the callbacks to the previous films. They really made a good job of putting those things, in a good ordered fashion, I guess, to kind of help you remember, like, oh yeah, remember that person? Oh, remember that time that person did this and that. So you get some good callbacks that I think that if you're a fan of the franchise, you'll kind of be like, okay, I remember that. Oh, that Easter egg. Oh, I remember that too. So those moments I thought were done very well in the film. And what I also liked was how they expand the mythology, right? Because that was something I was really concerned about. I was like, okay, what are y'all gonna do? Just make another movie where people just died? No, they actually found an interesting way to expand the story and make it grounded at the same time, but still feel new. They introduced the whole idea of family lineage and how families, figure into the equation for the whole thing with death. And they actually, I would say this, they made death a much better villain in this movie than Freddy or Jason ever could be. Death is a menace. Death is petty. Death don't care about you or your life at all. And it is just interesting how they keep death constantly moving throughout this film. And they raise the stakes, they expand the lore, and I love how they do that. I also like how they included the different themes of mental health. Really just trying to maybe help you second guess whether or not the people that we normally would think are crazy or paranoid, like maybe they right, maybe they on to something, right? And there was one other thing that really kind of this got to me. Let me see, do I have, oh, I don't think I have a picture of him, but it was bittersweet to see Tony Todd. For those of you that don't remember, Tony Todd was the Sugar Man, right? We're not gonna say his name. We're not gonna say his name, but he was the Sugar Man in the classic horror movie. Yes, you guys know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. This was his final performance, and I will say that, like, what they did in this movie, obviously I don't think they knew he was going to pass away, but his final words, his final performance, it felt incredibly bittersweet. Obviously you're dealing with a movie that deals with death, and his character, I like what they did with it. I like how they kind of tied up his story into all of this. And I thought they did a good job. And it was just kind of bittersweet to know that this was his final performance. Anyway, so that was everything I thought that was good in the movie. Love the deaths, love the themes, love the story, how they kind of expanded it. Shout out to Tony Todd, rest in peace. I thought they did a very good job with that. Now I will go into what I thought was bad in the film. So one of the things that is kind of problematic, I think, is that even though a lot of the deaths and the carnage is entertaining, you still had a couple death scenes that got a little cartoony. They got a little whack. They started to go, it was kind of like, all right, now, like, whatever y'all talking about with this situation, it's getting a little too absurd, and it undercuts the tension that you're building up. You're trying to make us scared because death is coming and all this, but then you do this wild and crazy death that it's kind of like, yeah, all I can do is laugh at this. I can't even take this death seriously as I probably should, right? And I think the only other criticism I would get is that sometimes this movie does fall into familiar franchise beats, right? Making some parts of the story feel a little predictable at times. There are moments where I thought they actually were playing it a little too safe sometimes. And yes, I get it. This franchise was built on a formula, so don't get me wrong, even though I see them doing the same things over and over again, I also understand, and I'll give them credit, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You still got me in there. You still got me watching, but I do think it was a missed opportunity to at least try to present another wrinkle into how you go about this franchise. So that was my other critique. Anyway, so let's kind of go into the reason. So, Final Destination Bloodlines, it's a morbidly fun time. The fans of the franchise, I think, are going to enjoy this deathly ride, so to speak. It delivers exactly what it promises with those creative kills. It builds up the tension. It builds up the suspense, and it does enough with the mythos, and the mythology to really just keep you hooked for the whole time. I think that if you are a longtime fan, this will feel like a twisted hug, like a weird hug from an abusive relationship, of some sort. But listen, when it comes to what you want from this movie, it will deliver that. And that's all you can really ask for. So when it comes to the rating for Final Destination Bloodlines, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Solid film. It is what you want. I don't think you need to watch all of the past movies to get caught up, which is a good thing. It kind of does the homework for you. But this movie is going to unlock some new fears, right? I've told y'all this in my review and my reaction earlier. I don't trust hospitals no more. Definitely not going to nobody's cookouts and barbecues. And I don't trust money, and I don't trust life. All of those things just, I have problems now. So anyway, I would recommend watching Final Destination in theaters, and more importantly, watch it with a crowd. I do think the thing that works for this is that it's a crowd pleaser movie. If you watch this with other Final Destination fans, you will have a better time compared to if you sit back and wait for it on streaming. So that would be my recommendation. Anyway, guys, have you seen Final Destination Bloodlines? If and when you do, come on back to this video and let me know, what did you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.